Hey guys, welcome back to another week of e-commerce marketing chats with myself, Charles, and the main man, Jimmy. Jimmy, how's it going, mate?
Good mate, good to be back. There's a lot happening in kind of all spaces at the moment. Google, e-commerce, there's a lot of shifts happening at the moment. So keen to talk about what I've been working on with a few of my clients this week and kind of some actionable steps people can take almost today to start preparing slightly for what's coming, but it will improve your e-commerce results regardless. So yeah, really excited to kind of touch on a few different things in this call and take it from there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Should we go through that list then? What's the first thing that you want to chat about today?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing that's kind of, and it hasn't launched everywhere yet, primarily in the States at the moment, but is the ChatGPT e-commerce function where people are asking for product recommendations and it's actually listing the product, how it would look in almost a Google shopping ad. I think the first questions that I'm getting is, hey, how do we show up in here? And two, how much traffic is it actually generating? And for US clients that I've seen, it's generating some pretty significant traffic at the moment. And the interesting thing is the conversion rates are much higher from traffic being sent from ChatGPT. So it's almost like there's this built-in trust established with the AI when they're sending them this referral already. And the average order values are actually higher than general traffic as well. So it's a really important space to be on top on at the moment. And I'm going to just quickly at the start of the show, just go through some things that you can do to show up in these things. So the first thing that you need to do, whether you're on Shopify, whether you're on any e-commerce platform, it doesn't matter. You need to make sure that your product feed is up to date. And when I say up to date, I mean fill out as many of the fields in your product feed as you can, especially if you're notorious for not filling out your GTIN numbers, which are like the barcodes on the back of your products, filling out the Google category that your product falls into, like every little sub meta field that you can fill out for your product feeds at the moment need to be occupied. And I would say as well, really optimize your product descriptions. A lot of and I'll just say this, even if it's only the first two lines that you're optimizing, you don't have to optimize the whole thing, but especially for product feeds, make sure the first two lines are optimized, whether you're using the SEO description in the bottom of the product field. Because what I'm finding is, especially for clients that sell products that other people are selling, they're all just copying the manufacturer's description. They're all the same. So you can actually get a really big leg up by just personalizing or making it search engine optimized the first two lines of that description. The other, and this is the big thing, this is the one that I'm pushing with my clients this week, is everyone knows that Microsoft have an invested interest in ChatGPT, but what a lot of people don't know is Microsoft Ads also have their own merchant center. So you can upload your product feed directly to Microsoft Ads as well. And that is going to give the AI another point of reference to potentially show your products to. So, what I am recommending to all my clients this week is one, whether you want to advertise on Microsoft Ads or not, set it up and then set up your free merchant center. We've spoke on this show previously how important it is, even if you're not running Google Ads, to set up your own Google merchant center. It's the same opportunity in Microsoft. So get your clients to set up the Microsoft ads, get that all set up, get the product feed into Microsoft ads, and straight away you're going to show up on the Bing shopping tab with the free listings with that feed. So Charles, this would be great for you because if they're showing up in the Bing shopping ads, it's increasing organic search traffic straight away, and they don't have to spend any money on ads. Now, generally what I see is if whatever you're generating from Google, Bing typically generates around 5 to 15% of the traffic that Google would generate. But if you take this action today, especially if you're a big site, it's straight away you can generate 5 to 15% additional traffic than what Google would generate. So I'm not talking about overall. Your overall isn't going to expand by 5 to 15%, but in comparison to Google, whatever that's generating, you could potentially generate an extra 5 to 15% on top of that by setting up your Microsoft Ads account and getting the feed into Microsoft. And it's something that I'm pushing really hard for all my clients at the moment, basically because we want to give them the best chance to show up in this AI goldmine that is going to take place over the next couple of months. And people aren't going to use Google as much. They aren't going to use, any search engine as much. They're going to be speaking to this AI, asking for really specific requirements, which is why your feed is so important. Um, you just think about this: if you're a running shoe company and you filled out your feed like immaculately, and even the description, it highlights the pros and cons and who this shoe's actually for. So it talks specifically about the type of support it offers, like what type of running style it's for, all those. Someone talking to an AI saying, hey, this is my running gait. I need a shoe specific for this because my gait patterns work in a particular way. Can you give me a recommendation for the best shoe to achieve this? And if your feed is set out immaculately, it's going to give you a much better chance to show up for those really specific inquiries, which is why the conversion rates are so much higher. And it's why people are willing to spend more, because it's like, yes, this is exactly what I want. It says it in the description. I've spoken to the AI interface that I talked to, and it was its recommendation as well. So people are feeling a lot more comfortable to make transactions with that. But I will say, if you're listening to just the start of this podcast, number one, set up your Microsoft advertising account. And number two, make sure your product feed is going into the Merchant Center. Number three, start updating your descriptions. If you've got thousands of products, take out the 100 top sellers and make sure that the description is SEO optimized. You don't have to change the whole thing, just optimize the first two lines to make it unique, make it different, and make it for the keywords that you want to stand out for that particular product. So yeah, that's my little tidbit to start the episode. So a few actionable things there, but really important heading into this kind of AI phase that we're already in, but it's really going to explode over the next month or two, especially when this e-commerce capabilities start rolling out absolutely everywhere.
Mate, golden advice to start the week. I've got some questions.
Mhm.
So, firstly, when you talk about product descriptions, are you talking descriptions on the page, or are you talking descriptions within Google Merchant Center? Like, just for a clarification on that.
Yeah, so if you're running Shopify, the description on the product page in the back end of Shopify will be the description in
Okay.
Google Merchant Center. But there's two parts depending on how you're feeding the feed to Google, because you can actually choose whether you want the description that's the normal description that will show up on your website, or whether you want the SEO optimized version
Better
of that.
description.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can choose. But the thing is, if you've never used the SEO descriptions, it automatically just takes the description that's on the product page anyway. So don't be stressing if you're like, oh, I've never, optimized any of those SEO descriptions, because they're kind of at the very bottom of the product page. Uh, it would be really handy if you did optimize those, but if you haven't, then it's just going to take the original one that you've got for your product description anyway, and that's what goes through to the feed. So when I say optimize your description, optimize whatever's going through to your feed, or potentially even optimize both with the same sentence for both, because if you're using the manufacturer's description that everyone else is using, it would be helpful just to change both.
Yeah. It's a really interesting point you made about how conversions are higher from an AI search. And actually, that correlates to what Google have said as well with their AI overview. So they've said that supposedly people spend more time on the page once they actually click on one of the cited links after a number of different searches. So, um, yeah, and I think we were talking off camera that Google are looking to roll out their own AI mode, and I think they're just a little bit behind at the moment because they're kind of playing, they're being reactive to what's going on, but I think they realize that we're going into this kind of large language model approach, and the traditional search is going to die the way that it's been set up, and they need to adapt fast. So. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And obviously, there's probably going to be different ways, like I said, to be able to rank. Google's probably got their own algorithm, whereas ChatGPT might have, like I said, a slightly different approach to how you get ranked on these platforms. So um, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to take the most market share. I mean, Google have obviously had that establishment for decades. It's just whether they keep it. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
I think this whole time, even maybe 5 years ago, we're thinking about because there's always something that comes over up and takes over, and it was just so hard to see what that was going to be to compete against Google. But I think this is the first time that I've ever really thought, you know what, I can see a shift happening here.
Yeah,
And you know, typically once those threats come up, like companies like Google and Facebook will just end up purchasing those competitors that are coming up, but it's not happening in this space, which is interesting. I mean, I'm sure they're trying. Microsoft have got a portion of ChatGPT, but yeah, it's happening less in this sphere because I think people like what's coming next is this, and for e-commerce businesses, it's it's almost when this thing fully launches, like the search engines are going to be like the newspaper advertising, like 20 years ago. It's you're going to want to move your advertising to somewhere that people trust. It's interesting what you said about that the AI snippet, how people are spending more time on the links that they're referencing in those AI snippets, and I can see that too because when you think about it, that AI snippet is basically summarizing the best kind of information that they've got from all those pages, where typically you'd go page by page to sourcing out the information that you want. When the AI summarizes like the exact part of the information that you want and then gives you the link that's showing that, it just means that you don't have to check like four other sites or like read
yeah. I
other
think
resources.
absolutely. I think what they're suggesting is, you know, overall in many industries, click through rate is down, but impressions are kind of still up. But the clicks that are getting pushed through have a higher value and are more likely to, like I said, convert to potentially, um, yeah, a conversion sale, whatever that be. Um, So yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. But I think that seems to be where we're heading. I've got no doubt in my mind that Google has to adapt, and if they don't, they're gonna start losing more market share. Um,
I think
so we'll,
I see the big opportunity with the merchant center, especially for being and really if you haven't got one set up with Google, like it's a non-negotiable for an e-commerce business. Like you need it. But the merchant center's in that gray area of does the SEO take responsibility for it or does the paid ad person take responsibility for it? And like I always help my clients out regardless, but most paid people like, well, I won't set up that, the free listings for you because it doesn't do anything for my reporting. Like you're just getting more free traffic. Like your SEO person can set that up, which
yeah,
is why the merchant center gets neglected so much because it's kind of there is there's crossover between SEO and paid in that arena, but it's often like who takes responsibility for it. For me, it's I'll just do it. It's like it,
Yeah.
it's like two buttons to turn it on. So if you've got a manager that says, "Oh no, that's the SEO's responsibility," like just get rid of them because it's like a 2 minute job, and if they won't do it, then they just don't care about your business basically.
Yeah.
If they can't spend 2 minutes to turn on this setting that shows your products on the free listings as well, like just get rid of them. Um, but yeah, we can. I think Charles and I actually spoke probably months ago because we were looking in the Google Analytics 4 about how to actually differentiate what traffic is actually, like what organic traffic is actually coming from the shopping tab. Do you remember that, Charles? It was so long ago, but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think that will be important. I might in the Facebook group Shopify Marketing Secrets, I might actually show people how they can go into there and see how much organic traffic is coming from the Google Shopping tab, like free traffic is coming from there, because then they'll get a really good indication of, okay, if I set this up on Microsoft, I can kind of assume that get, for example, let's just say you've got 100 clicks. Let's just say you got 1,000 clicks a month coming from the Google Shopping network. If you set that up on Bing, you're probably going to get between 50 and 150 clicks from Bing. And depending on what industry you're in, whether your cost per click is between 50 cents or $2, there's straight away like 50 to a couple of $100 worth of free traffic, and that's kind of if you're on a small scale. If you're doing tens of thousands of clicks from the Google Shopping network, and you're not set up on Bing, it's going to be costing you thousands for something that will take you probably half an hour to set up. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that I'm rolling out across my clients, but this is how I've done. Like, I like working with fast movers. So the emails that I send out now, because like I don't have a retainer with Bing for anything like that, but it's like sending out an email to clients. Hey, this is where it's headed. These extra data points from Microsoft are going to be really beneficial to your business. I'm offering for my clients this week only. If you add me to your Bing account this week, I'll set it up for you. And if it's past this week, then it'll be a charge service. So it's free if you want to get it sorted this week. Because what I don't want to do is be getting emails like sporadically, like 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, when it's not part of the service agreement. I just want to help my clients. But it's like, hey, in this particular week, I'm focusing on this. If you want to get it done, set this up, add me to this, and I'll set up the rest for you. That's how I'm kind of doing it this week. But yeah, outside that week that I've dedicated to it, then it would just be, an additional service.
Yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've been thinking a lot more also about, content moving forward. I know we've talked about kind of discussion about blog content and, quality versus quantity. Um, and I do think now that when anyone can just create content at a click of a button, like you need to be, when you are creating content, you do need to be asking yourself, can AI create this in 2 minutes? Because if it can, and the AI, like certainly with Google now, which showing more AI overviews in particular, that blog post, unless it's really, really good quality, it's not going to get cited. And if it is going to rank, it's going to rank, way down the first page of Google. I would be focusing on a strategy that aimed to get into those cited areas. Because really, if you're getting an AI overview, if you're ranked underneath that, the click through rate is probably not that great anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say for that,
so
I would say on the content side, I will 100% back this up that I spend more time on the formatting of the post, so making
yeah,
it look better than the actual content itself. Because to be honest, the content itself, a lot of it comes from AI. So you're right. It's like, can AI write this? Yes. Can it make it look like this? Not yet, but probably pretty soon. But yeah, that's how I'm looking at it at the moment. And the blog posts that I do, yeah, they're all. I mean, I've shown you a couple of them, Charles, but yeah, they're all pretty heavily formatted, and they're kind of almost in that style that we've spoken about previously, like um, kind of the advertorial type posts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you've got to spend more time on the idea or the topic and the formatting than anything else,
Mm.
because the content, the actual written content, can be created pretty quickly. The way that I'm doing it with one of my clients is they've got a big YouTube channel, so they're creating kind of unique content in video format, and then I'm just taking that video transcribe and then converting that into a blog, which then supports the
Yeah.
video on it. So it's like it's effectively unique content still. It's not like if I just said write me an article about X, Y, and Z. It's like here's a video transcribe which talks about all of these points, summarize it and create a blog. So it's like actually first person opinions. And
It's probably
that's more credible and unique.
there's probably a real like a real space for that you could iron out, especially like e-commerce stores that are like TikTok based or YouTube based that don't have like a really strong blog. I mean, that's like a super valuable service just in itself, being able to drive additional traffic from content that they already have, and then you just have to like set it up. Um,
Yeah.
it's especially for e-commerce, and big kind of big players that do drive a lot of their traffic from YouTube. Um, probably a lot of probably I was gonna say merch stores, but you more want the people on YouTube that are talking about the specs of particular products, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if let's just say you're a mobile phone company and you had someone like tech reviewing like all your products, like those blog posts would be really good, and support that. But yeah, there's probably a real niche for getting onto YouTubers and providing them, hey, we'll make blog posts of all your videos and get you additional traffic from search from a blog.
Yeah. No, it's a good idea. There's a million and one different services that I think that's the thing with AI now is like you've got the capability to create so many different things. It's just uh, making sure that you focus on
I think
yeah
uh, I think
moving the needle.
I think for people to introduce themselves to AI, whether it's in e-commerce or anything. For example, I had a really old blog that was about an industry that I used to work in, but it was getting like 2,000 hits a month. I was like, it's just sitting there. It was so old, it's outdated. It had like a marketplace, so it had products that were like 10 years old. Um, the issue was I could never update it because I didn't build it initially and I didn't understand the tech stack. With I was able to completely rebuild that site in probably 3 or 4 days. And when I say 3 or 4 days, I was probably working on it for 12 to 16 hours a day. So it was a pretty long slog. And don't get me wrong, people think AI, touch a button, it's built. This wasn't like that, and it was a lot of troubleshooting and error solving. But eventually we got there, and I found a sponsor for that blog now based on the traffic that it was getting, and it's generating $500 a month, and it's generating that business that's sponsoring it because I also have access to their analytics. It's generating them some really good kind of sales and leads. So it's a win-win for both. So if you've got an old project that you were never able to do or build because of technical limitations, like that barrier has been significantly reduced. But um, yeah, it's people need to start implementing it, or testing it, or just to understand what they can actually do with it. So I think that's important. Did you have anything else on that one actually, Charles? Otherwise, I kind of want to talk about something else that had popped up
No,
this
no,
week
good.
for me. So one of my clients, well, I got two emails this week. One I'll go into later because it's not super relevant. It's more if you've got a physical store. But this client is like they sell accessories for a particular industry, but the issue is the Temus, the AliExpress, like they're dominating the shopping ads now, and it's looking at their site and how do you compete with these guys because they're cheaper. The shipping times from those places have really improved as well. So you're just slowly losing market share. The thing with these things, especially in e-commerce, you've got to look at the things that Temu and AliExpress don't have, and that's the social presence for the niche that you're in, and also the expertise. So even though they're selling the accessories, um, I'm trying to give an example. So let's just think about like a cake decorating company for the moment. They're selling the cake tins, the piping tools, all the accessories. You can get them on, Temu, AliExpress for, you know, pittance. But what those companies can't do is like, hey, if you want to make this particular product or cake, this is the exact set of utensils that you need. And they can sell it as bundles. So it's kind of the examples that I've been giving my clients this week. It's like you're trying to sell individual products that $5 to $10 in price. Let's use the traffic that you're getting from social about a particular cake and actually bundle all these products together, make it higher order value, and be like, hey, if you want to make this exact cake, this is all the tools we use in here, and you can buy the whole bundle. So you need to be using your expertise more, and the blog content comes into that too, because they've got all these blogs about, for their particular niche, how to do certain things. It's like, okay, I want to do that, but I don't want to buy each individual product. Give me the bundle so I can just get all of them, rather than having to price compare on each individual item. If they're buying the bundle, you've probably got a little bit more margin, so you can reduce the overall cost of the bundle slightly, um, and just let me buy the whole bundle. Improve the average order value, and it gives you a bit more of a leg up on those Temus and the AliExpresses that are selling similar products, but it people pay for convenience, and if they're wanting to make that particular thing, rather than going and buying each product individually, so many more of them would just buy the bundle.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. For sure. It's a really good point. It's a really good point.
I think a lot of businesses are going to be. I mean, one of the major retailers here in Australia is Kmart, and they've just kind of they're introducing a strategy to basically offset the influence of AliExpress and Temu and all these companies. So if the major players are doing it, then the micro players need to be doing it at a much higher level because the expertise is so much higher. Like they're not a general retailer, they're specializing in a particular area. You should be able to use that knowledge to create products and services that make your business stand out and that have higher average order value and give the customer like kind of exactly what they're looking for so they don't have to price compare on 20 different products for completing one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to increase conversions for sure. Makes total sense.
Yeah, and it's like I mean if you've got like a car parts company or something and someone's researching the best way to change a tire, you might have like the jack in there, a few things to the tire, like a tire repair punch kit. Like you might just bundle something like. I'm trying to think of more examples to give where people could potentially use these bundles. In the creator space, you look at green screens, for example. They're not used as much these days, but when they were, I know I bought a bundle for a green screen, and the green screen came with lights and some other things. So it was like a little creator bundle. Rode microphones do it quite well. They have like creator bundles for podcasts, so you get X amount of microphones, the podcasting mixer, and a few other things, and it's like, oh, great, bundle. And they sell those things like hotcakes rather than someone being like, oh, I might get two of those microphones, two of these from somewhere else to try it. It's like, no, just give me the bundle. So yeah, it's something to think about in this wave that's coming, especially for AI as well. I'll go back to the cake example. If you're on AI, it's like, how do I make this, red velvet cake or whatever? And it's like, here's the perfect bundle for all the tools that you would need with the piping bags, the cake tins, all that. It's all in a bundle. Like it's going to play out really well in the AI space. So I think that's really if you're in that position where you're having to compete with AliExpress and Temu on certain products, you really need to have the expertise in the area to kind of make yourself stand out a little bit.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think, like you said, it's looking at what you can do to make a difference with your pages, and get things set up so that you can increase more sales conversions. It's these 1-2% improvements over time, isn't it, that makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
I think everything that we're kind of doing at the moment is really kind of preparing for the transition to this next phase, and a lot of it is around the quality of data that you have on your back end, because it's what's going to be the most important going into this AI phase. So if you've half done all your product uploads and you haven't filled out all the like the brand, like some of my clients are like missing the brand meta field of like what brand it is. Like you won't be able to get away with that as easily in this next phase, because it's going to be heavily relied on for data inputs, and the people that are putting those data inputs in are going to get preferenced over you and like the level of detail that you're putting into your product feed. So, and this is an SEO and a paid issue, and the SEOs tend to steer away from the product feed, but whether they know it or not, the changes that they make on page are going to influence the quality of that feed anyway. So it's just a matter of like, if an SEO is working with a business with no paid person and you want to drastically increase organic traffic, then set up all these basic. If they don't have the merchant center on either Google or Bing, like you could generate a lot of extra traffic just by setting that up overnight. Um,
Mm.
and
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, like I said, being an SEO myself, it's not one area that's typically, when I come into a business, it's often overseen, or certainly the account management side of things has been set up by the ads guy. But like you said, equally, there's things in there that impact the SEO. Certainly, the free shopping
I think
listing
for an SEO,
tab.
I think for SEO, especially like if you're auditing a client, it should be, in my eyes, it's like the quickest win. Especially if they don't have a paid guy, because if you're looking at that account and they're quite big on e-commerce, they're already generating like organic traffic from search. Um, and let's just say they're a heavily Facebook based kind of company. They don't have Google Merchant Center set up. They don't have Bing Merchant Center set up. Like, if you set those two up, you don't even have to wait for your changes to, I guess, rank. Like, you've just their products are going to show up in the free listings straight away. And it shows up in Google Analytics 4 as organic traffic. So if they bring you on and you set those two things up, they're going to see a pretty good increase in traffic instantly. Because the SEOs, typically, you'll hear from an SEO, oh, this is going to take 3 to 6 months to, see some results. If they don't have those two things set up, like you can see results tomorrow. It's one of,
Yeah,
and I hear from SEOs from now, like every now and then, I wish we had the instant gratification that paid had. Well, you can with this. It's one of those things where the SEOs can have that, but hardly any of them do it.
yeah, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It's yeah. I think there's yeah, the SEO industry in general, there's a lot of kind of mediocre work being done as well. It's like there's a lot of people that see SEO as a quick, rich scheme in terms of let's be great at sales
Yeah.
and not really do much for the client and basically keep it on a retainer as long as possible and play the volume
I
game.
mean, you only have to go as far back as our episode last week to see the results of having a subpar SEO, Charles, from that account that you audited
Yeah,
that lost, what was it,
yeah.
99.5% of their organic traffic?
Oh, more. Yeah, no, it's well, pretty much 100. Yeah, 99.9% pretty much of traffic, which has cost them. Yeah, like I said, who knows you in terms of the revenue numbers on that? It's huge. Um, yeah, no, it's important. It's important. I think data. You talked about data. Um, much of I always kind of think about well, what makes a good SEO, and really a lot of it is the fundamental aspect of it is data analysis and like finding opportunities, especially with the big when you're like managing big e-commerce SEO campaigns and you're working with stores that have got a lot of SKUs. It's identifying
Mm.
opportunities. I'll give you an example recently. So uh, I think it was back in February. I was looking through the data and I was finding that um, when this was within Google Search Console, I was finding that certain basically my clients within the automobile space, one of my clients, and they were getting searches for certain generations of the truck that they sell. They sell parts and accessories of this truck. So it was like accessories generation one, generation two, and they were getting clicks, but they were getting clicks to the
Mm.
homepage. So the intent wasn't probably the best. So what I did was I worked with their web developer. We set up individual generation pages for these particular parts. We showcased them on the home page as well, so they're within the navigation, but they're also underneath the header image, so you can click on the different generations. And just from doing that, all four of those pages are now within the top best, the most basically landed on pages on the site. So just from looking into that data, spotting those opportunities, and then getting those pages built and optimized within the space of 3 months. Um, those are really some of the best performing pages on the site. So it just shows the data is yeah, super important.
100%. I can give an example very similar. So, have a client that we were looking in the Search Console and we noticed this influencer's name that kept popping up next to kind of the products that we sell. So we looked into it a bit more, and this influencer had a ton of search volume, and it was like not even tapped into by anyone else at all. Um, so we built a page around it, and within the first kind of actually, I was talking to you, Charles, when we set this up, because I'm like, yeah, we're going to set up a collections page for this and a blog post around it, and the traffic from those search terms outperformed the homepage by 5 times. It's insane,
Yeah,
and it's all high intent traffic as well. It's like converting like crazy. So there are some golden nuggets. So we talk about it a lot. Like there's golden nuggets to be found in the search console. A lot of times people will look at that and they don't know what they're looking for, but we've just given two prime examples of what you can look for, whether it's any like well-known influencers names that are popping up or what is popping up and is it going to a relevant page on your website. Um,
yeah.
so
You
yeah.
know, I mean, for me now, I would be also, and this is kind of giving advice to potentially any SEOs out there, or also companies as well. I would be running a comprehensive SEO audit at least every 6 months, if not every quarter. Especially like I said, with the larger e-commerce stores that have got, they're constantly creating new pages, and there's opportunities that the owners don't even, they're not even aware of. The actual these e-commerce store owners. They're not aware that certain opportunities are arising, um, and by constantly analyzing the data and kind of looking at this at certain milestones throughout the year, you can really spot some really good opportunities. So yeah, something I'd recommend doing is having regular, you know, interval SEO audits to make sure that you're spotting all the opportunities, and also you're navigating any potential, you know, weaknesses and threats. Because, like I said, we talked about the site that I audited last week and how catastrophic that has been for them, and that they weren't even aware of that until probably 6 months later.
Yeah.
Um, so
With
yeah,
the
it's super
actually,
important.
because I haven't really tested this for SEO yet, but what level are the AI audits at for SEO audits? The only reason I ask is because I saw a template this week. It was a massive template that basically businesses can run for a CRO audit on their own e-commerce store. I haven't tested it yet, but I'll send it through to you this week, Charles, and maybe we can both test it over the week and see what it comes out
Yeah,
with,
sure.
and see if it's worth sharing with everyone else. But is there like GPTs out there at the moment in the SEO space that can do like basic audits for business owners to identify any things that they could change at the moment, or is it not quite at the level yet for a kind of a good audit, I guess.
Yeah, I think it depends at what level you want to go at, like, and how in depth you want to go. Like, if you just want a top level audit of some things that you can fix on the site, you know, probably ChatGPT. You know, you could use one of the SEO tools like SEM Rush. You can run, you know, an SEO audit through that. That's going to give you um, some good insights. Probably what it's not going to be useful at is when you're working with a larger store that's got, you know, thousands of SKUs, and you really want to kind of deep dive on a granular level and see what pages are performing the best, what areas need to be focused on. um, that's where I would be doing something a bit more comprehensive. But there's, you know, you can save time now. There is, like, I think GPT on Google Sheets, so you can, you know, you can analyze some of the data on that and set up formulas and make things quicker when you're running that audit process. I mean, I personally used Supermetrics to kind of pull through data. Um, and then I was using ChatGPT to figure out how to do, like, what they call VLOOKUP. So you can pull through data into one sheet and make sure that it's aligning with the correct URLs. Things which before, you know, for someone that wasn't so technical, it would be a struggle to do. But now, if you know what questions to ask the AI, you can do that yourself. So it depends how, yeah, how much time you want to spend on it. But yeah, certainly the tools are getting better out there, Jimmy, for sure. Like,
While we're on the topic of actually this, I haven't even watched this episode back, but I was just about to say this episode has already probably been one of my favorite that we've done so far. I think it's super actionable and it's really relevant to what's happening now. So I just want to give away as much gold that I can. So in terms of other things that myself and my clients are doing to increase revenue, I'll let you guys know some apps that we're using. So one of the ones that we've been testing is an app called Redeemly. One of the founders, Ty Chapman, absolute legend. I'm gonna clip this and send it to him and get him on the show to talk about these apps because they are really good. Two that I've been using. One is called Redeemly, and basically instead of rewards points that you get for making a purchase, like a loyalty program, it actually gives you store credit, and you can choose like how much store credit you want to give per purchase. So like it can be a percentage of the order or whatnot, but you can set it up so they've got X amount of days to use it. So it doesn't just sit there forever. It can if you want it to, but what we do is we set it to, okay, they made a purchase, and this particular client that we've been testing it on is in the supplement space. So we set it for 60 days after they make a purchase. Their credit will expire, so they automatically get an email like the week before it expires. Hey, you've got this amount of credit. Come back and spend it or before it expires. And it's been really good to kind of generate additional revenue from repeat customers. Because
Yeah,
if someone's
interesting.
made like a really big like sometimes we have people making, I think we've got, I'd have to double check, but I think it's a 3%, I think it's just a 3% credit back. But some people are buying thousands of dollars worth of supplements. Like, it's crazy. So they're getting like $30 or $40 credit off one purchase. So even if they don't want to make another massive purchase, they'd be silly not to at least come back and use the credit, because it's just going to expire and they could potentially get one of the items that they would regularly purchase almost for free. It doesn't cover shipping, so they still have to reach a shipping threshold to get the free shipping. So if they do come back for a free item, they'd still be paying shipping in that instance. But yeah, I find it a much better loyalty program than getting points or something like that. You've got a real tangible asset, and it's saved on your like shop account or your account with that e-commerce store, and it's been working really well. Another app that we're using by the same creators is called Ship Protect, and this is basically this client was getting a lot of people saying, "Hey, like I haven't got my order," when they've got physical photo evidence of, the item at their front door. Like, how do we negate this a bit? So we've put Shipping Protect as an option for additional shipping. It's like $3 extra. It's not much, but what we're finding is a lot of extra people are taking that up, and the people that actually say that the item never arrived is so small that the Shipping Protect is covering anything that across the board for the business of if they do have to replace something that has got that Shipping Protect. But it also protects them in the fact that, hey, if they've got delivery proof and it's at the front door, previously they would just send out the customer like the order again. But now, if they haven't purchased the Shipping Protect, they say, no, sorry, we've got this Shipping Protect in here specifically for this issue. We've got delivery confirmation and the photo at your front door. I'm really sorry, but we can't send this out again. So it kind of negates the shippings that. Well, obviously, if it's legitimately lost, they will replace it, or if it never got there. But for the ones where there's a photo and it is their house and it is their front door via the shipping courier, like they're not going to send out another product to those people anymore. Like, no, sorry, it's been delivered. Here's the photo. Yeah, you're going to have to take it up with the shipping company because we can't send out another one, but they will still entertain it if they have got that kind of Shipping Protect cover. So it's another interesting app. I was kind of on the fence about it because it just seems like, oh, should you replace this anyway? But the more I think about it, the big e-commerce players are doing it. There's some big players using it, which kind of got me over the line. Um, but yeah, two interesting apps there to increase revenue. And I can tell you, one of my clients that uses Ship Protect over the last 90 days, I think it was around 15,600 orders had Ship Protect in it, and they had about $3 as well. So it's an extra 45 grand on shipping.
I was going to say, it adds
Yeah,
up, doesn't it? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I mean, if you're doing volume, like these little things can make a kind of a huge impact. And I think another one that we both use, I'll probably let you talk about this, Charles, just because I know you've gone into it a bit deeper recently and actually offer it as a service, is around kind of push notifications. If people are wanting to like drive additional revenue from traffic that they've already got, it basically helps people complete cart purchases. It's a reminder system, but um, yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about push notifications, Charles? Because I know that we're both using
Yeah.
it, and we've both seen really good results with them as well.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the app we're talking about is Push Out. So push notifications is basically notifications that can pop up either on your browser, whether you're on desktop or on mobile. Almost like when you get like an app notification, it can pop up. And you have to opt in to get these notifications. And I think that's why it's so powerful because once someone actually um, clicks on that notification to say they've opted in, you can then send them, potentially as many notifications. And I've personally used them for sales. So when there's certain sales throughout the year for one of my clients, and we've seen really, really good results. Like, they're averaging, depending on what time of the year it is, but recently they're kind of averaging between 20 to 25,000 dollars, US dollars in additional revenue just from having these set up, and even just simply having you can set up automations as well, so you can do abandoned checkout, and that's that can bring in 5, 10, $15,000 in extra revenue, depending on the size of your subscriber list. I'm finding that I was very I wasn't skeptical, but I was surprised at just how well it was doing. And obviously, it's dependent on particular markets, but they're averaging anywhere from 50 to 100 new subscribers every single day without fail. So that list is going to be, I did the numbers, and that's going to be over 30,000 subscribers probably by the end of the year, if not more. So I think the one advantage also that potentially it has over email, not saying that email's still very powerful, is that you're getting those notifications like straight away on your mobile. So it's very, you know, on some front, it's very disruptive in the respect that you're getting it there and then. Whereas with email, your emails potentially could get lost. So there's some benefit to doing that. But you have to be careful at how
Yeah,
many
I
you
agree.
send because they're kind of so in your face. Um, you need to make sure that yeah, you're being strategic with how many you're sending.
I think as well, one thing to note about push notifications is because people think about that and then they're like, oh, it sounds like text message. Text message can be quite expensive. For push notifications, you kind of pay a monthly fee and you get X amount of pushes per month. So I think the $60 a month one is around 25,000 push notifications a month. So yeah, if you're sending, I pretty, so it sounds like Charles uses the campaigns a lot. I predominantly use the abandoned cart reminder system. But if you're sending out 25,000 of those and you're not making more than $60, like something's wrong. You should be
Yeah,
making like $6,000 a minimum from 25,000 of those. So yeah, it's a great way to just close people that are close to purchasing if they haven't already, because we all know we get to the checkout and can't find a card or you get distracted and then you just forget about it. Like that little reminder that comes like 15 minutes later, hey, you left this in your cart. Do you want to complete your purchase? Especially coming to your mobile. Not all of them come to your mobile. It actually depends on the device that you accept the notifications on. So if you accept it on your desktop, you'll actually get the notification pop up in the bottom of on your desktop. So through the browser that you use. So it is relevant to whatever device you kind of accept the notifications on. But yeah, I think it's the most cost-effective way to bring back repeat customers. And or
yeah. The ROI,
not even repeat customers
I was going to
sometimes.
say,
Sometimes it's new customers that haven't even purchased yet. So yeah.
Duke, it is a lot of the time we're finding that actually also the subscribers that are showing up aren't actually they're often new customers that aren't on the email list because I think there's a way that you can kind of cross reference to see who's already an existing customer.
Oh, that's interesting. I
So
haven't
push
dived
out
that
will show
deep
you
into it,
that.
but I actually would like to. Because I kind of do it as a, like, it's not a dedicated service that it, well, I shouldn't say it's not because some of them are, but it's more like, hey, I just set this up and send it out. But I haven't dived into that deep detail of, hey, are these new customers? Are they returning customers? So that kind of data would be really interesting.
Yeah. But the ROI on it is amazing. It can be, like I said, it really, I'm sure it's going to vary between industries. I'm only giving you kind of one major example.
I can tell you
Um,
now for the supplement
but
industry,
yeah,
it's phenomenal. Um, and yeah, a couple other industries that we've tested it into. It's like the journaling industry. They use it to like great effect as well. So I think honestly, I think it would work with any industry because well, how I use it anyway with the like focusing on that abandoned cart. The good thing is if you don't even want to use it at the moment, you can set it up and it's free. Um, you get 500, I think it's 500 push notifications a month for free, but it lets you accumulate your list for to as large as you want. So even if you don't want to use it yet, you can install it and just accumulate a massive subscriber list. And then when you're ready to use it, like for a big sale, like Black Friday or end of financial year or Christmas or whatever, you've got a massive bank of subscribers that you can use. Obviously, you'd have to move to the paid platform when you did decide to use it for those large numbers. But um, yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's another one of those no-brainers that I'd throw up there with the setting up the merchant centers on Google and Bing.
oh, for sure, it's without doubt one of the most cost-effective ways to drive a subscriber list and fundamentally more sales. Yeah, the ROI, like I said, the ROI on it is really good. For the pay plan, for some kind of, to give people some ideas, uh, I think it's now around $79 a month, US dollars. So I'm not sure what that works out in Aussie
Yeah, I
dollars,
was talking US.
um,
The thing is, if
or pounds.
yeah, if you work with like myself or Charles, we've got account managers and we can negotiate better rates with them for our clients. So um, yeah,
Yeah,
I've negotiated a few. Like I've got the paid plans for $29. So
yeah,
um, yeah, it's just the little things that make a difference. But yeah, if you're going through it solo, you just have to pay the market rate. But if you're yeah, if you're working with an agency that offers it, yeah, sometimes they can get you a better rate. So reach out and ask them.
yeah. And it depends in terms of the impressions. I think it's 25,000 is the first paid
Mm,
plan, and that I'm finding on average that gives you around 5 to 6 campaigns a month. That obviously depends on
yeah.
the size of your subscriber list, because how
Yeah,
many impressions
I
that
think if
you're
someone's starting out,
effectively
it's going to be
sending.
way more than enough because their list is it's going to be
Yeah,
zero starting out. So, but yeah, if you've had it for a year or so and you've built a decent subscriber list, I think you'll start capping out then. But yeah, if you're just starting, like that first tier is it's gonna be overkill. You want to
be
just
more than
start on the
enough.
free plan,
Yeah,
build a subscriber list, and then decide whether you're going to test it with your first campaign will be really small, but before you know it, you'll have 5 to 10,000 people on that list, and then yeah, it's a little sitting gold mine there too. So yeah, I recommend that one.
good, cool. I think we're coming up to the
Yeah,
hour, Jimmy.
honestly, that was I think that was my favorite. Like, this is the type of episode that I would like to share on socials because it's just so value driven. It's actionable, um, and I think people that listen to this and take action will see some considerable results over the next couple of months. And that's what we're about. We just want to help e-commerce owners grow. And me and Charles talking about this stuff weekly gives us ideas to implement on our own clients, like every single week. So yeah, I hope you guys have all got some value. You can check us out on YouTube on Ecommerce Marketing Chats or check us out on Facebook on Shopify Marketing Secrets. And I'll make a note of myself that I'll post in there how you can actually differentiate how to see the traffic that's coming for free from the Google Shopping Network in your Google Analytics 4, just so you can reference how much additional traffic you might get by setting up the Bing Merchant Center as well.
Yep, some really valuable stuff. I certainly learnt a lot in our chat over the last
I
hour,
think,
so I'm
Charles, if
sure there'll
if
be
I know some of your clients, I'm thinking of one specifically, the one that's on push notifications. You get them set up on Bing and a few other things, especially Bing, because I know that client, that the kind of shoppers that are on Microsoft are kind of that older male demographic. It's like perfect hunting ground for them because, especially on mobile, they just use the default browser, and a lot of the time it is Bing related. So yeah, if they're not on there already through their paid agency, then you can get some probably a good increase in organic traffic just from there as well.
yeah, good stuff. All right, cheers,
See you
guys.
next
Until
week.
next time.
Bye.